Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Things are just getting better and better for the SNP down in Westminster. After having 6 different MPs all announce they're resigning before the next election, you've now had Angus McNeil have the whip suspended for a week after fighting with Brendon who's the whip. Okay, it wasn't fisticuffs, but things were thrown, names were called, and basically a lot of ill feeling. Is it the start of a civil war? This is not so much a party as a bunch of hate-filled individuals forced to share a lift together. And it's going to end in madness. Hopefully, of course, it metastasises and it spreads all the way up and fills Holyrood and they all start fighting up there as well. But it is absolutely delicious to observe. And it is just a sign that this party really haven't got a clue what they're doing. We're going to take a look at this article now. But honestly, put your party hat on, grab your popcorn, seriously, sit back and enjoy this ride. This party is going nowhere. Here goes. So here we are. Nat Wars. Angus McNeil suspended from SNP Commons Group after bust-up with colleague. Soon to be ex-colleague, I reckon, the way it's going. The Western Isles MP was said to have been unhappy with the Chief Whip, Brendon, who he is alleged to have called a wee small man. Presumably it's because he is a wee small man. The renegade SNP MP Angus McNeil had the whip suspended for a week after a reported row with a fellow MP as the scandal-ridden party descended into open warfare. Let me tell you, the scandals have barely started. There is much more to come. We reported on Tuesday that McNeil, a vocal critic of the SNP leadership, was involved in a heated bust-up with the party's chief whip Brendon in the House of Commons on Monday. And they had the fight on Monday. There was more words yesterday. There was emails flying about. There was things thrown, and now today it's there's even more today. These two, it's like school time, isn't it? It's like they'll see it. I'm going to beat you up at lunchtime. That's where they are. They're acting like children. Eyewitnesses claimed the Western Isles representative told O'Hara, "You're a small wee man," several times before throwing a clutch of letters in the direction of his party colleague during the extraordinary scenes. He later posted a cryptic tweet that seemed to suggest that he thought Mr. O'Hara was a bully. And I bet he is, because that's all the SNP is. It is a nasty, physically rough party filled with shouty people. People who don't care. They're all narcissists. They're all bullies. Every single one of them. I always think Malcolm Tucker. Their whole party is just filled with Malcolm Tuckers, aren't they? Anyway, Mr. McNeil is a close friend of Alex Salmond and has made his dissatisfaction with both Nicola Sturgeon and Humza Yousaf's leadership of the SNP clear. What's the betting? He jumps ship. Oh, the very next line. Look at this. Same mind, eh? He has been linked with a defection to Alaba, but is so far stuck with the party. This may be the straw that broke the camel's back. Reacting to the suspension, Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy said, "The scandal-ridden SNP are clearly in a state of open warfare, with personal feelings spilling into public. Perhaps this is the toxic culture Mary Black was lamenting when she became the 6th MP to announce they were stepping down at the next election. It could be 7 gone. I'm making a prediction, it's only a guess, I predict Angus McNeil will walk either today or tomorrow and join Alaba, and then think about what he's doing after that. But I think he will walk. It is telling that Angus McNeil has been suspended by the leadership for a fallout with the chief whip, and yet Nicola Sturgeon retains the whip, contrary to party precedent, despite having been arrested. But this ugly soap opera doesn't just affect the SNP, it impacts all of us, they said. Humza Yousaf, he said, is so consumed with trying to contain the civil war in his own party that he's unable to focus on real priorities of the Scottish people. He's never, ever in his life focused on the real priorities of the Scottish people. He's only ever focused on independence. Anyway, this explains his relentless focus on independence. What is it? Am I writing this thing before we get here? The only thing feuding Nats agree on, rather than the cost of living crisis, ailing public services and growing Scotland's economy. I normally read through these in advance. This one I'm not. I'm reading it blind because it is like fast news, moving news. And it just seems to me I'm making a comment and then the next bloody line. It's like, I didn't read this. I didn't write this article and I haven't read it before. But it just seems everything I'm saying is echoed within it prior to me saying it, strangely. But by the order I'm going down. Anyway. Responding to his suspension, McNeil told STV News, "Stephen has his views and I have mine. But as leader, he has his own pressures to balance and I accept the decision he has taken." On Tuesday, Mr McNeil tweeted about standing up to bullies, saying, "General advice, always stand up to bullies, especially any abusing their positions, particularly those who scurry around shouting to anyone listening, 'I'll get him, I'll get him, I will get him, mark my words.' These are people who from school we should get taught to face down." Of course he is. He's absolutely right. O'Hara is a bully. O'Hara's got the whip and he wants to use it and he's saying, you got to do as I say. And it wouldn't be surprising if O'Hara threatened physicality. It really wouldn't. I'm not saying he has, of course. I'm clarifying that I don't know if he has. I'm just saying I personally, speaking for myself, would not be surprised if he did. It is thought the tweet's reference to "I'll get him" was from a previous argument about whether Mr McNeil should be in the chamber for a debate when he was campaigning to become chairman of the Energy Security and Net Zero Select Committee. It is alleged that Mr O'Hara swore at him, and Mr McNeil has been an MP since 2005, but is thought to be one of the number of Nat politicians under threat of losing their jobs, with Labour rising in the polls. Yeah, about 20 of them will be gone, maybe more, and when they keep fighting them like this, it's going to be even more. I think Angus will jump ship. I think his only hope is to jump ship. The SNP are starting to realise that they're finished as a force. Anyway, it comes amid reports that the MPs are unhappy with Mr O'Hara's heavy-handed approach as Chief Whip. The Argyll and Bute MP is a member of the so-called Tuesday Club, a group of curry and beer-loving MPs who helped Mr Flynn oust Mr Blackford, who is a member of the Wednesday Club, which is when they all go down to Greg's and eat it outright finished. One source, so it's a club of one. One source told the Times he thinks he's a prison officer, but he's drunk on what he perceives as his own power. Brendon is a clown who should take up knitting or something useful. There he is, Brendon O'Hara. He looks a bit suggy, doesn't he? He looks like someone who could push and bully his weight around. He'd get very short shrift from a lot of people. I just tell him to go boil his head, but then I'm not in his party. But I'm glad to see Angus McNeil, who I've got to be fair, is one of the few SNPs who actually isn't entirely awful. But then he does stand up and dislikes the current leadership. So maybe there's hope for him. But who knows? Anyway, I'm going to round off there and come up. I will say well done to Angus McNeil. I do think it's time you jumped. Really turn the screw. They've pulled the whip from you. Now, they say it's only for a week. Make it permanent. Walk. Cross the floor. I mean, it's not technically crossing the floor, but you know what I mean. Cross the floor. Go to Alaba and sit with your mate and then just say, screw you. Screw you all. And be a man about it. I'll round off there and come up. I think as far as the SNP go, he's the good Angus. We know the other one is the bad Angus. But Angus McNeil, well done. I'll salute you, sir. I'll give you a little clap, a little round of applause. Well done. Standing up to bullies, regardless of the politics out of it. Standing up to the bullies is always good, regardless of what party you're in. But yeah, walk, split the party, make them pay, because they are treating you abominably. The others are running because they know the ship is sinking. So get out while the going's good. Go on your own terms, number one. Go on your own terms. And then be a thorn in their side for the remainder of this parliament. You've probably only got 18 months. But you don't have to put up with their shit anymore, do you? Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. It really, really helps. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And I will say just this. Stay safe, stay well, and let's just give Angus a little bit of support. Because he is the good Angus, is it, Mr. Angus McNeil? And goodbye.